Corinthians against Vasco da Gama from the Pacaembu in Sao Paulo. The second leg of a Copa Libertadores quarter-final that finished level in Rio last week. A wet night, a premium of chances. Does that change this evening? Hello from Will Downing. Well, we already know the fate of one Brazilian side in the quarterfinals this season in the form of Fluminense. Corinthians and Vasco now go toe-to-toe to see if they can reach a place in the semi-finals. The draw will stay as it is if Santos beat Pelas, because that's who the winners of this tie will face. If Pelas come through, then the draw will be reversed. Juninho with his 2 goals so far in the competition. Looking for a Vasco pick-me-up after last week's goalless draw. They won their opening match of the Brasileiro, the Brazilian Serie A at the weekend. Alexandro with the winner midway through the second half after Felipe Bastos had given them the lead at home to Grêmio. The Corinthians beaten by Fluminense. Leandro Eusebio with the only goal late in the game. There is one notable absentee from Corinthians. It is Lietzen, who is on the bench, and there is a tale about him, which shall be told later. It being an all-Brazilian clash, Leandro Vauden leads the all-Brazilian team of officials. Altamir Hausmann and Carlos Berkenbrock are the assistants, and the fourth official is Evandro Roman. This is a fixture that normally produces goals until last week. Corinthians in the white, Vasco in the black. And the only way this game will go to penalties is if it's 0-0 again. Please don't go to penalties. Corinthians 4-2, 2-2, nominally. Casio in goal, a back four of Alessandro, Chicao, Leandro Castan and Fabio Santos. 2 defensive midfielders, Paulinho and Ralph, the attacking midfielders, Alex and Danilo, 2 fine quality men, supplying Jorge Enrique and Emerson. Vasco 4-4-2, Fernando Pras in goal, a back four of Fagner, Renato Silva, Rodolfo and Thiago Feltri. Midfield, Juninho, Nilton, Romulo and Diego Souza. Up front, Eder Luiz and Alexandro. Though we will see Juninho pushing up to add to his wonderful playmaker skills. Terrific long career in France, where he won those 7 league titles in a row with Lyon, and you would argue they haven't been the same since he left. There's an opening, but easy for Fernando Pras. Semi-finalists in the Sudamericano last season. Vasco's run certainly improving. They've lost 3 of the last 13 games. Corinthians have now lost 4 of the last 37, having been beaten at the weekend by Fluminense in a tight 1-0 home loss. Gathered by Juninho, slipped past Chicao. Not scheduled to meet in the league for quite a while. That is Cassio's. Still no Julio Cesar for Corinthians, but he is tonight on the bench. Venezuela have just taken a 1-0 lead in their friendly. They're playing Moldova, and they've reached half-time. Friendlies all the way for Brazil in this 3-year cycle between Copa America and World Cup. And their eyes fixed on Argentina next week, but without Ganzo, who plays tomorrow night against Vélez, but will have a minor operation afterwards. Vasco free kick. Well, the abilities of Juninho and everyone else destroyed by the rain last week. There wasn't much to that delivery either in the dry of Sao Paulo. Emerson Sheikh, Qatari international, having declared, being a Brazilian underage international. Sure, that went down well at home. Eder Luiz couldn't get the touch away. Rodolfo did. Appeals for a penalty. Turned down by Leandro Bowden. Is the policy in CONMEBOL competitions that if one nation supplies two clubs in the same fixture, then that nation also supplies the officials, which you have to say is quite sensible. Much in this? No. Fabio Santos fell over after Eder Luiz did the same. Romulo. It was such a war of attrition last week. They cancelled each other out, so maybe more accurate to say they were both cancelled out by the heavy rain. He was falling already, was Fabio Santos. There's no doubt Eder Luiz gave him a look. He was already on his way down. Good balance by Juninho. And whilst Emerson Sheikh hasn't had a chance to hit the target yet, he has hit the linesman on the near side, Altamir Houseman. Emerson's won it back. Palmeiras are through to the semi-finals of the Copa do Brasil. 2-0 winners on the night, 4-2 in aggregate against Atletico Paranaense. Goiás and Sao Paulo are just underway, 0-0 on the night. Sao Paulo 2-0 up from the home leg last week. Curitiba and Vitória due to kick off shortly. That like this, 0-0 last time out. It's Unión Española 0, Unión Católica 0 in the Santiago derby, but almost every game there is a Santiago derby. Montevideo is the city to go if you to get swamped by football. 7 games in the top flight every weekend. 15 clubs out of the 16. And the Uruguayan Primera come from the capital. That's saying too long for Eder Luiz. And Cassio, who's been able to pick up a few games with Corinthians since his arrival a few months ago from PSV Eindhoven. Enrique. Alex, good ball wide. Emerson Sheikh. For a second it looked as if he was going to be able to pull it too wide, but Wagner interceded. Did well to get the cross in, did Emerson. He'll arrive at the near post, awaiting the Corinthians corner. Delivery was inviting, and it's just been clawed out by Fernando Praz. Back up again for Alex, inviting, very much so. Look at all the white shirts around, and they've given it to one of the few ones in black. And Luis denied. Well, the transfer window now open in Brazil, and the moves coming thick and fast. Joe, formerly of Manchester City and Everton and CSKA Moscow, has left Internacional for Atletico Mineiro. Only netted 6 goals in 36 games for Inter. Cristofão Borges, and who took the helm of Vasco after Ricardo Gomes had serious health issues. And the seat is still being kept warm for him, even though it's been 9 months since his stroke. Borges worked very well in guiding Vasco to the Cup last season and the semi-finals of the Sudamericana, the best ever performance in the secondary competition. Waiting in the middle. Alessandro had continued the move up from right back. Free kick. Alex, Sandro and Ralph, the tanglers. Was Ralph who strayed too far. Alexandro. Eder Luiz in support down the right-hand side, but hasn't used them. Instead, it's a really good ball down the middle, which has yielded a really useful-looking free kick. There's patience for now from Leandro Vaud. The foul on Thiago Feltri. Ball had just gone. Sandro would have popped it up anyway. But big options here for Vasco. Juninho will be behind the free kick. Directions coming from Cassio as to where the wall should go. Juninho punched out, pressure on Cassio, but the fingers did the work. Good free kick. Scored against Alianza Lima and Libertad in the competition so far. Saw off Lanús on penalties in the last round. Corinthians beat Emelec 3-0 here in the home second leg. Emelec were just somewhat disappointing in the evening, as were indeed quite a few of the sides who held a good position heading into the second legs of the last 16 ties. Juninho with the pull-through, away by Alessandro. Attempted blast by Alexandro. And Alessandro to bring it away. This could get confusing. Put away by Romulo. Diego Souza. Some big goals in the campaign, particularly in the last 16 against Lanús. Ball in was decent by Wagner. And it won't be the last of those super enterprising runs from the right back, because he'll practically live in the final third. Super free kick, and it swung a bit. All good for Cassio. second half now. Venezuela leading Moldova by a goal to nil. Luis Secas with the lead goal. Knocked down, couldn't find Alex. Came from Emerson Sheikh. Surprising how their paths hadn't crossed before, considering how well travelled both men are. Secas, who spent the most recent season with Standard Liège. Romulo. Delivery too ambitious. As a youngster, trained with Benfica, moved to Portugal for a while, but got homesick as happens. Back home, careers blossom. 21 now, 1 Brazilian cap. Could be primed for a move. Just like Lucas Moura, the Sao Paulo winger, whom Chelsea put in a £32 million bid. It's around 40 million euros. Was turned down. Paulo rated higher than that. Two other international friendlies taking place right now. Peru are goalless against Nigeria. Same story between El Salvador and New Zealand. Chicao is tempted by the free kick. Didn't have a huge amount to aim for though. Emerson, just been located by Danilo. Fabio Santos has done wonderfully, and he's still going. It's past Paulinho. A bit too mesmerising. Juninho away. Alexandro didn't show very much composure. Has been poked upfield by Alessandro, who has been fouled. It's a free kick. And Diego Souza has been pretty much signalled to that he's on his last chance before the yellow cards come out. And lucky Thiago Feltri finds himself in a wall of one. Punch out by Fernando Pras. All familiar names been in the news this week as well. Luis Felipe Scolari, manager of Palmeiras, says he's leaving at the end of the Brasileiro, the Brazilian League season. Which you might think isn't unusual, but for the fact that the season is only 1 game old and kicked off last weekend. Alexandro with the probing ball that time, and the final effort swung wide, but again good promise from Nilton. Winning the free kick, fouled by Nilton. He's not letting much go in terms of free kicks, Leandro Vauden, but in terms of challenges, he's happy to give as many people as he can a chance before brandishing the golden card. Jorge Enrique, pop across goal. Well, he too well among the goals this campaign with 3. Just couldn't get the finish that time. There are some concerns for Fernando Plas, though I'm not sure what they are. Jorge Enrique, both with 3 goals, joint top scorers for Corinthians so far. Same tally as Diego Souza and Alexandro, who hold the same joint position for Vasco. Matias Alustiso, Deportivo Quito, still the top scorer in the competition with 8. One ahead of Dorlan Pavón of Atletico Nacional, who, like Quito, are also out. And also at 7 goals, Neymar. Surely it can't end there. Alessandro, the Corinthians captain, the right back, remains up. A throw with a lot of height, and it almost provided the assist for Emerson Sheikh. Agonizingly close. It was a high throw, if not the longest. And just a little clip after Edo Luiz couldn't get it away. And Tite trying to urge it into the net, as did Emerson Sheikh, but it wouldn't go through. It will be a Corinthians corner. Alex will take movement, though not a lot. And it'll be a free kick. Nothing doing now then. Juninho unhappy about the strength of the challenge. But it has again gone unpunished. Alexandro. It's a good battle with Leandro Castan. Gathered by Edo Luiz. Here's a Corinthians ball, and they were the first to appeal. Edo Luiz is continuing that and might have just talked his way into trouble. Well, he claimed the free kick, didn't get it, got the ball. Emerson with lovely control. Taken out from the side, it looked by Nilton. Well, there's a shake of the head almost to ask what's happened to humanity. But there's not much policing from Leandro Vad. So far as refereeing has been the equivalent of a clip round the ear for a gangland shootout. And we may face one of those later. Shootout, that is. It stays this way. Shikau overhit. We'll see if the glittering football will arrive. The glitter definitely has. 2-0 for Venezuela over Moldova. The nation with the Eurovision singer that looks like Colin Farrell. Salomon Rondon has got the second goal. El Salvador 1-0 up over New Zealand. Peru 0, Nigeria 0. Goal in the Santiago derby. Union Española lead at the Santa Laura against Católica by a 1-0. Mullo trying to find the way through. There might be an opening for Eder Luiz. He's done well to keep it in. It's a good cross. Comes towards the back. Chance for Thiago Feltre. Romulo. And it's a black ball. Juninho using the wisdom of his years to shield it. And it's a Vasco throw. Diego Souza. Free kick. Door was slammed in his face. Not only was the ball not in shot, I'm not sure it was in the same country. Cassio can just about see Juninho, which means Juninho can see enough of the net. Juninho, too high. Well, back earning minimum wage. The club in which he began, earning £230 a month. He's just about won the lot in the game. Full-back wasn't decisive. Emerson will still be able to keep it alive for Corinthians. Danilo. Good work, Fabio Santos. And the follow-up work by Danilo, unsuccessful and very quickly taking the throw. Juninho's let it go. Alessandro interrupted. The man who's doing most of staying up with Emerson so far instead of Jorge Enrique. This is Eder Luiz. He will have another shot at it. Alex on Juninho. Free kick, good position for Vasco. Osvaldo Vizcarrondo has made it 3-0 for Venezuela now against Moldova. Juninho's free kick. Corinthians defending in a line. It worked. And by Leandro Castan. Runners-up in the two events of the Campeonato Carioca, the state championship. Runners-up in the Taça Guanabara and the Taça Rio. Cassio's been tested maybe a bit too much. I think Leandro Vaden. I thought Leandro Vaden was going to take extra action, but just the free kick. The referee's been calm again. is the battle of the top two. Vasco finished second, 2 points behind Corinthians last season in the Brazilian league. Here goes Edo Luiz. Very good break. Slip came at the wrong time. Juninho. Thiago Feltri. Had loads of options waiting, but could only find Cassia. It's quite a long thump upfield. Wagner found wide by Edo Luiz, or at least he would have been if he got to it. Just a bit too strong, looked to be perfectly weighted, but he just kept rolling that a bit too harshly for the young right back. Jorge Enrique, good ball wide. Here goes Alessandro. It's been the same story for both as they've attacked. Reach the final or penultimate hurdle, and it all ends there. Edo Luiz again, found by Juninho. Well, cross was promising because Alessandro was arriving. It was offside. Just about was. Ultimate Houseman doing his best impersonation of a man who was listening. Emerson doing his best impersonation of a man who was pushed in the back. Alex. That's a superb cross. Great opportunity. Picked up by Fabio Santos. They still have men up. Jorge Enrique in the right place in the middle at the right time. But the timing wasn't right. That's a magnificent stop by Fernando Pras. Paulinho. Header of pure power. And the save was majestic. Alex with the corner again. Sizing up along with Fabio Santos. Could have been a bit longer. Lovely flick by Paulinho. Back across by Danilo. Sandro. Danilo. Fabio Santos, who's had his moments in the competition. Scored against Emelec in the last 16 second leg win here. Assistance in this one from Alessandro. Controlled by Eder Luiz. But nobody lurking forward in black. Juninho acknowledges that the delivery should have been up to his usual standard. 2-0 for Unión Española now. Actually, no, it's not. It's 3-0 for Unión against Unicatólica. Sebastian Jaime and Fabian Cordero with the first two. The third has just gone in. Give you goal details later. El Salvador 1, New Zealand 1, Venezuela 3, Moldova 0. If you were wondering. Paulinho. Enjoy for Danilo. Alexandra. Eder Luiz did well to win the throw. Looked as if his footwork was somewhat laboured, but he managed to escape. Cross by Wagner was a teaser, but Cassio didn't take the bait. Sandro offside, but it didn't really matter anyway. Emerson a mite late on Renato Silva. And Emerson's going to walk himself into trouble. That was very silly. Alessandro's throw. Alexandro picks it up for Vasco. Here comes the break. Good push up by Eder Luiz. Juninho and Diego Souza were trying hard to stay onside. Eder Luiz now down. And Jorge Enrique will try and slip away from the scene of the crime. Doesn't look too impressed, Leandro Bad. Lovely close control. What followed wasn't. So what about this time from Juninho? Been a bit under par with the deliveries this evening. Cassio has his own reasons to complain. Luiz, there was Juninho support again. Another black ball. Jorge Enrique, he did lead with the forehead, but I don't think it's a direct headbutt. Eder Luiz went straight down. There was a motion from Jorge Enrique. We'll see. It was beginning to get heated between the two. Yellow and yellow. Well, they continued battling on there. Jorge Enrique was unhappy, thought he should have got the free kick. Now there was a motion with the head. Stuck it into the face. We've seen players go off for that. And Luis is presumably wondering why he got one. Can only imagine if he went in with a bit more force, then he would have been sent off. Juninho will take the free kick. Cassio flew wonderfully. Punch away, he didn't care who he took out, and in this case it was a colleague in Danilo. And Cassio is spread out. Well, the eyes were on the ball and not on each other. Checking his reactions and to see if he can still bend his fingers. There was an offside anyway, but we won't concentrate on that. Well, there was somewhat of a clatter of heads, definitely, at an angle. He still knows what day it is, and we should be okay to resume. Enrique upended by Thiago Feltri, but that's happened the other way once or twice in this game. So it's Alex's turn for a precise delivery, and he went for the near post, and it wasn't a bad idea because it looked like Leandro Castan moved up to get the flick back. It was Ralph, and it was too high. It was actually a very sly move. No beating Fernando Pras that time though. Wasn't a good clearance by Renato Silva. Feltri came up with the proper block. Alessandro. Well, the bodies are coming together heavily, but it's Vasco who are on the break with Diego Souza. Alexandro is available on the near side. And Luis arriving also. Wide for Thiago Feltri. And with Romulo down, the side of the best course of action would be to roll it out. Involved with big burly Alessandro. And right into each other. And there was very little that either one could do about it. One Brazilian appearance when they overcame Argentina in last year's Super Classico. Friendly that they playing for the time being. Thiago Feltri with a quick one. Recent signing from Atletico Goianense, but he won't get the cross in because Alessandro's in the way. The league-winning captain last season. Thiago Feltri probing cross, couldn't find Alexandro, and Juninho won't find Eder Luiz, and it wouldn't have mattered anyway. 4-0 now for Venezuela against Moldova. Rondon has got his second. Peru lead Nigeria by 1-0. It's Jose Paulo Guerrero. Long time at Hamburg now. Salvador drawing 1-1 at the moment with New Zealand heading towards half-time. Controlled by Eder Luiz. Somewhat overplayed by Juninho, and it's the other number 8 who's now claiming a foul, and the yellow has come. And it was quite unlike Juninho, all of that. Second yellow of the game for Vasco to join Eder Luiz from a few minutes earlier. 2 minutes of added time, by the way, at the end of the opening 45. And that will be the first offside of the game against Corinthians, as denoted by Carlos Berkenbrock on the far side. Vasco's constant aim will be, they get the opening goal, Corinthians then have to score twice. Trying to change that course. Wagner. Many ways, a patternless game. Whistle didn't go that time. Diego Souza with a chance to bring it on. Only really Alexandro to wait for in the middle, but Diego Souza continued the run. And the angle may be narrow. And the touch was inviting, but the pull back by Eder Luiz almost opened the door. And the final strike too high after Cassio had made a meal of it. And there's still no goals between these two across 135 minutes of football. A couple of good chances, free kicks from Juninho. Paulinho, the best chance of Corinthians, a header saved by Fernando Pras. And Alex's free kick headed over by Ralph. 4 minutes left in the first half.